Now let us start the direct versus indirect inguinal hernia. So you can see here the diagram. This is the direct hernia and this is the indirect hernia. Let us see what is the difference between those. So first coming to what is normally inguinal hernia. So it's an abnormal protrusion of abdominal contents like greater omentum, intestine. All these abdominal contents are going into the inguinal canal and this is called as inguinal hernia. So here in this you can see this is a deep inguinal ring and this is a superficial inguinal ring. So till this is called as inguinal canal, right? Inguinal canal is a pipe like structure between the deep inguinal ring and the superficial inguinal ring, right? So this is inguinal canal. So in this inguinal canal, if abdomen contents like omentum, intestine, loops, anything may come into this, then that is called as hernia, inguinal hernia. Okay. And this inguinal hernia likely to occur in persons in which the intra-abdominal pressure is very frequently high. Example like chronic cough by work involving weightlifting, so heavy weights. So if any person are like who are always exercising with many weightlifting programs, then those men or adults may have a chance to get the inguinal hernia because it's a weak area where abdominal contents can easily come into the inguinal canal. So now let us see what are the types of inguinal hernia. So when the contents of hernia enter the inguinal canal, not through the deep ring but through the posterior wall. So if the contents of hernia are coming from the posterior wall, which is called as direct hernia. So here in the direct hernia, if you see, uh, the abdominal contents are not coming from deep inguinal ring, but in the indirect hernia, if you see, the abdominal contents are passing by means of deep inguinal ring. So if the abdominal contents are passing by means of the deep inguinal ring, that is called as indirect inguinal hernia. But if the abdominal contents are coming by posterior wall, not by the deep inguinal ring, then that is called as our direct hernia. So in the direct hernia, if you see, especially from the posterior wall, especially which is medial to inferior epigastric artery, from that region the hernia is said to be direct. Next, coming to the indirect hernia. So here you can see when the contents of hernia enter the inguinal canal by passing through the deep inguinal ring like this and lying lateral to inferior epigastric artery here, and the hernia is said to be indirect. Okay, so this is indirect hernia, this is direct hernia. So let us discuss some details about this direct hernia first. So in direct hernia, actually the hernia passes through Hasselbeck's triangle. Actually you'll have an Hasselbeck triangle. So from that mainly there's here at this site, you can see it's mentioned over here. So from this contents are coming. This is called as direct hernia from Hasselbeck's triangle, which is bounded medially by lateral border of rectus abdominis. Okay, and it is laterally bounded by inferior epigastric artery and below by the inguinal ligament. So these are the boundaries of Hasselbeck triangle. The triangle is divided into medial and lateral parts by obliteratal umbilical artery. So direct hernias through the medial and lateral parts of triangle are referred as direct medial or lateral hernias respectively. So according to the side, it may be called as medial hernia or lateral hernia. So direct inguinal hernia occurs in old age people like about 75 years. Why? Because like here what we have discussed that the posterior wall is weak. So when the posterior wall becomes weak, especially in old age people, right? So especially in the people of 75 years, the posterior wall becomes weak and the abdominal muscles also become weak and it's frequently bilateral and incomplete. So this is about direct hernia. Now let us discuss about indirect hernia. In indirect hernia, either it may be congenital or maybe in the young through areas of congenital weakness produced by descent of testes. Actually it will be seen in young people where congenital, in the birth defects they may have some other defects. So because of that the deep inguinal ring is not properly closed, then it may come. Or sometimes even in people who are having weakness in the descent of testes. You know, when the testes descend from the abdomen, then if this way is not completely filled, then also it may lead to indirect hernia. Okay, so especially during the descent of testes, a pouch of peritoneum descends through the inguinal canal into the scrotum, and this process is called process vaginalis. It subsequently this exactly at this area the process vaginalis is present. So subsequently the proximal part of process becomes obliterated while the part around testes becomes tunica vaginalis here. So abnormal persistence of process is important factor in production of inguinal hernia. So actually either in congenital defect or whenever the process vaginalis is not formed perfectly, in that case you will have the indirect hernia. So what are the different types of indirect hernia? You have first one is congenital vaginal hernia. Actually here what happens is the entire process vaginalis remains patent and the contents of hernia pass through it into the scrotum. Such hernia is called complete hernia. So complete hernia means here all the entire process vaginalis is patent, means it's not properly closed, so that all the contents of hernia pass through the scrotum, and this is called complete hernia. Next coming to congenital funicular hernia. Actually here a patent process vaginalis is present in relation to spermatic cord but does not communicate with tunica vaginalis, so hernial contents lie above the level of testis. So sometimes what happens is the hernial contents, that is the abdominal contents, will not go completely into the testis, just it will lie above the testis. That is called as congenital funicular hernia. Next coming to bubonocele. What is bubonocele? It is a hernia which is confined to inguinal canal itself, does not protrude through the superficial inguinal ring. Actually some hernias are like which only lie within the inguinal canal, they will not cross this border of superficial inguinal ring. Such kind of hernias are called bubonocele. So we have discussed the three types of hernia. One is congenital vaginal hernia, which will go up to the testis or like up to the scrotum. Next you have the congenital funicular hernia, which will go up to the above, like level of up to the above testis only. And next you have the bubonocele, which will like only be within the inguinal canal. That's it. So these are the three types. Now coming to covers of inguinal hernia, like what are the coverings of this hernia? So from what has been said above, like it is clear that every hernia has some contents. So example, intestine which lie in a sac formed by peritoneum, or the structures which are separating the peritoneal sac from the surface of body. So all the coverings of hernia. So let us see from inside to out. First we'll see in indirect hernia what are the contents from inside to outside. So first inside you'll have extra peritoneal tissue. Okay, so first you have extra peritoneal tissue, next you have internal spermatic tissue, next you have cremasteric fascia, after that you have external spermatic fascia, after that you have skin. So let me show the diagram to understand this. So if you remember this diagram, you can easily remember from inside to outside what are present. If you see inside, first you will have internal spermatic fascia, after that you have cremasteric fascia, after that you have external spermatic fascia, after that completely outside you will have the skin, right? So these are the like coverings of indirect hernia. So now let us see in the case of lateral direct hernia what are the coverings. So same as for indirect hernia, except instead of internal spermatic fascia there is fascia transversalis in the case of direct hernia, or like you can say of posterior wall of inguinal canal, right? So it has fascia transversalis, right? So what are the contents here? Extraperitoneal tissue, next fascia transversalis, conjoint tendon, external spermatic fascia, skin. So instead of even a cremasteric fascia, here you have the conjoint tendon. So for this also let me show this diagram. You can see here clearly. Here you have conjoint tendon and here you have the parietal peritoneum, right? So remember one thing, here we have the transverse fascialis and conjoint tendon instead of here where cremasteric fascia and internal spermatic fascia are absent in the case of our indirect hernia. So this is all about differences between direct and indirect hernia.